This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face. You with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game. Talk trash all you want. To me, it's all the same. You won't leave with much when you come in second place. And I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gonna cry to your mama, cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HPT. I'm James Larson, joined by Maria Ho. And Maria, tell everybody what we've got in store for them tonight.
Well, we're coming to you from inside the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room here in sunny Florida. Our final table has been whittled down to the final 5 players, each of them guaranteed to walk away with at least $20,391.
All respectable paydays, but after making it this far, I'd expect that none of these players will be happy with anything less than first place. To most, the poker glory is just as valuable as the stack of cash, and in a few years, nobody will remember who finished in second or third.
That's exactly right, James. These remaining players all deserve a pat on the back for making it this far, but as a poker player myself, I can promise you, when you grind it out in a big tournament like this for days on end, you definitely walk away with a feeling of disappointment if you don't close it out.
And with that said, let's head right down to the felt and find out who our new HPT champion is going to be. Let's see where the players stand and what they're playing for.
The top prize, 6 figures, $122,353 to the winner, and also the title of our newest HPT champion. Second place, $79,000 and change. With 5 players remaining, all players are guaranteed just under $26,000. Vincent has regained the chip lead, but Carlos still very healthy behind him with $2.8 million. Short stack here is Tim Woodson with just about 10 big blinds.
Blinds are now 30,000, 60,000 with a 10K ante. Action is on the 1 seat of Ryan. Looks down to Queen 6. He's going to fold over to Carlos. Carlos in the 2 seat looks down at King 8, suited in hearts. Going to go ahead and raise it up to 120,000.
You've definitely seen Carlos open up his game a bit since getting his hands on more chips, which I completely think that that's the right move. When you have momentum on your side, you should definitely be amping up the aggression in that situation.
Corey B makes the call with pocket jacks. Folded around now to Tim. Looks down at King 10 of diamonds. He's going to make the call.
Nice call, Tim. Thank you.
3 players go to the flop. And that flop is 8-7-5, couple of spades.
Carlos has paired his 8 for top pair, but Corey has an overpair to this board.
Tim checks. It's over to Carlos, who bets 150,000 chips. And now Corey, with the best hand of pocket jacks, makes the call. Tim gets out of the way. He wanted to see a flop. So now 2 players, Carlos and Corey B, as we go to the turn card.
And the turn is the 6 of clubs, and I think both Carlos and Corey don't really love their hand much given this board. But when it's checked over to Corey, he is going to make a bet here, it looks like.
I'm Corey Burbick from Deadwood, South Dakota, and I'm a professional poker player. If I win, I'll just be a little less belly up, and I'll have a little bit more money to play some of these.
Those look a little harder to stack, Maria. I think that's the problem. It's not like a normal stack of chips. 300,000 is the bet by Corey B. Kind of a tough spot now for Carlos.
Yeah, and actually, you know, Corey B here is betting with the best hand. I'm not really sure if he knows it or not, but Carlos can't really love his top pair, and he hasn't really seen a lot from Corey B in the way of bluffing.
Carlos is going to make the call. 300,000 chips. Carlos is not only a poker player, he's also a poker coach. He's got over 250,000 in lifetime earnings. River card now is the Queen of Diamonds. Carlos checks. I think Corey's probably going to do the same thing. And as usual, I'm wrong.
I think with this all-in bet, I think you could be pretty certain that Corey decided to turn his hand into a bluff. I think he's trying to get hands like 2 pair to fold here. I don't think there's any chance Carlos is going to call given what Carlos has, unless Carlos just puts Corey on a busted flush draw. Still a lot of chips to call here.
I predict a check. Instead, Corey goes all in, and Carlos is going to get out of the way. So the winner of the hand is Corey. Pot size of just under 2 million chips. So the action continues here from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this nationally televised HPT final table. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the HPT. It's James Larson and Maria Ho. We've had a great week here in the Sunshine State of Florida at the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. Only 5 players remain. Let's head back to the action.
Vincent Fiorenza is our chip leader. He has over 4.4 million. Carlos Loving has just over 2 million. Corey Burbick, starting to climb though, has just under 1.9 million. And our short stacks are Ryan Colton and Tim Woodson.
Lines are 30,000, 60,000 with a 10K ante. And actually, we'll start with the 4th seat of Corey B. You know, Maria, we talk about the money, just over 122,000. Is that on the minds of the players right now? And if it is, it's got to add some nerves to everybody's game.
Yeah, any 6-figure payday, I think, is always going to stick with these players, no matter how many times they've been in a position like this. There are definitely a few players at this final table who've been in this spot before, but at the end of the day, it's really difficult to completely forget about the money that you're playing for.
Corey's going to raise to 125,000. Vincent's going to make the call with Jack 9 of clubs. Folding now over to Carlos in the 2 seat.
Carlos with Queen 6 of spades from the big blind. He's going to come in as well. 3 ways to the flop. Carlos is first to act here.
And the flop is Queen Jack 9, couple of hearts.
So Corey here has top pair and a gut shot straight draw. Carlos also has top pair, but with a worse kicker. And Vincent's actually flopped middle and bottom pair.
All 3 players checking that flop of Queen Jack 9. Turn card now. Another heart, this time the 7 of hearts. Action starts with Carlos. He's going to check over to Corey.
And Corey actually turned a flush draw as well, but they both check it over to Vincent, and I think this is Vincent's cue to bet here.
My name's Vincent Fiorenza. I'm from Oviedo, Florida, and I manage a bar in Maitland, Florida. I'm the chip leader. Ryan Colton is favorite to win because he's probably the best player in Orlando or in Florida for that. So if I get lucky and beat him, I might take it down.
And Vincent is grabbing for chips. And he's going to make a bet of 210,000.
I think Carlos is going to go away pretty quickly. He has Corey behind him yet to act, and he can't think that his pair of queens here looks pretty good with the rest of this board. No, I don't like it, Carlos. I think it's a pretty easy fold. Corey here, no doubt, is also going to call. He doesn't have the nut flush draw, but he has the second best flush draw, which he probably thinks is good enough. Plus, he has top pair and a gut shot straight draw as well. So lots of possibilities. He's definitely getting the right price.
Carlos and Corey both making the call. River card now is the 5 of spades. Over to Carlos. He checks. Corey's going to check to Vincent.
I think you might see Vincent check back here as well. He might be afraid that somebody else has a better 2 pair.
A pot of just over 1 million chips. And Vincent's not going to check. I'm not sure that's really a part of his vocabulary. He's reaching to make a bet here. And it's a bet of 575,000. Carlos certainly can't make this call. And that is a fold by Carlos. Now over to Corey.
And Corey, knowing that there aren't a lot of value hands that he beats, is kind of hoping Vincent's just bluffing here.
And Corey is going to make the call, and he's going to see that he's beat by Vincent's 2 pair. And Vincent's going to win a pot of just over 2 million chips. James Larson and Maria Ho. We come to you from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. And we move on as blinds go up now 40,000, 80,000 with a 10K ante. Life-changing cash up top, $122,353. Action is folded around to that man on the button. Vinny, in the 5 seat, wakes up with pocket aces. Interesting, Maria. With pocket aces, Vincent makes the call.
I think Vincent is trying to use his image here to trap a few people.
Option now. Tim folds.
Option is checked by
The action now over to Ryan in the 1 seat. He's going to check his option in the big blind.
Let's go ahead and see the flop.
Aces up against 10-5.
And the flop is 10-5 deuce. And you know, sometimes when you slow play aces, they get cracked. And Ryan here has flop top 2.
I'm Ryan Colton from Orlando, Florida. I'm in sales, and today I'm a poker player. It means a lot, man. I play poker quite a bit, and this would kind of just prove that I'm meant to be here.
Yeah, just like that. Vincent could have raised, obviously, with his pocket aces. He doesn't. Let's Ryan into this pot, and Ryan flops 2 pair. Now he's going to bet 200,000.
And an all-in raise.
And now an all-in raise, and Ryan is going to quickly call this.
And, you know, you can't really be results-oriented in this situation. I think if Ryan just flopped top pair of 10s here, he still would have been happy to get it all in against Vincent. Unfortunately for Vincent, though, Ryan has a better hand at the moment. Vincent's looking for an ace or a deuce to pull into the lead here.
And the turn card is the deuce of clubs.
It actually gives Vincent the better 2 pair here, aces and deuces. So now Ryan, with his tournament life on the line, he got it in good on the flop, is looking for a 10 or a 5. Otherwise, he will be our 5th place finisher.
The river card is the Jack of Hearts, and that's going to do it. Vincent's going to win the hand, the pot of just under 2 million chips, and it's going to eliminate the 1 seat of Ryan Colton. And he's going to go home with a nice little payday, just under $26,000.
4 players left. They're all hoping to take down this 6-figure top prize. Come back for more poker action here on the HPT.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the HPT. James Larson and Maria Ho, our final 4 players left here at the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room.
And our chip leader is Vincent Fiorenza. He has over 5 million. Second closest in chips to him is Carlos Loving with under 3 million. Tim Woodson has 1.7 million, and Corey Burbick is our short stack with 370,000, which is only 5 big blinds.
First place money tonight, $122,353. Blinds are 40,000, 80,000 with a 10K ante. Action will start with Tim Woodson in seat number 6.
Now the blinds are getting really big, and we're playing only 4-handed, so all of the pots are very meaningful right now.
Action to Carlos. He wakes up with pocket 10s. He's going to make the call. We've seen a lot of that, Maria, with players just making the call when they have pocket pairs.
Yeah, and I don't like this play at all. Not coming in with a raise with 10s on the button, 4-handed, when, you know, there's just so much more value to raise here. A lot of people are going to call really wide pre-flop. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The flop is 9-7-3 rainbow.
Vincent checks. Carlos bets 100,000 chips. And Vincent makes the call.
Vincent thinking king high might be good here.
Turn card is the 9 of diamonds. Vincent checks again. Carlos checks his 2 pair.
9 of diamonds. River card, please.
The river is a 5 of diamonds, and Vincent checks again over to Carlos. I think this is when Carlos needs to come in for a value bet here.
Pot size is 440,000 chips. 4th place money, now your min cash at this final table, 34,665. Up top, just mentioned it, just over 122,000. Carlos bets 300,000 chips.
Hi, I'm Carlos Loving. I'm a professional poker player and poker coach. I live in Sarasota, Florida. My strategy is to adjust to my opponents and basically take advantage of their strategies. So I'm going to learn how they play and adjust to that.
Oh, Vincent's going to make the call.
And I think Carlos limping in on the button here with 10s confused Vincent a bit, because Vincent felt like maybe his king high was good, but I think Vincent should have just given this hand a little more thought. I think Vincent is acting a little too quickly on all the streets. I think that if he took some time to think about it, he might have been able to get away.
Vincent's definitely got a little gamble in him, that's for sure. Blinds are 40,000, 80,000 with a 10K ante.
Vincent starts the action, looks down at pocket nines.
With a raise.
He's going to raise it up to 180,000.
Tim folds, Carlos folds, back to Corey here in the big blind. And he has 7-5 of hearts and just calls.
Corey.
Heads up now to the flop. Vincent with pocket nines going up against Corey's 7-5 of hearts. And the flop is 6-4 deuce, couple of diamonds.
I have a check by the 4 seed of
And Corey checks it over. He's flopped an open-ended straight draw, and I think with his stack size, he's planning on just check raising all in here if Vincent bets, and Vincent with his overpair does bet 200,000.
Over to Corey B. A lot of money on the line tonight. Every decision must be very calculated. And Corey now is going to go all in.
And, you know, it's not much more for Vincent to call. So it's Vincent's pocket nines against Corey's 7-5 here. Corey is looking for an 8 or a 3. Otherwise, he'll be eliminated in 4th place.
All right, so Vincent stands up. Pocket nines in the lead currently.
His opponent is ahead.
And the turn card is the 10 of clubs.
So Corey just down to the river looking for the 8 or the 3 to make a straight.
And if he doesn't catch it, he'll be eliminated in 4th place. The river card is the 4 of clubs. So that's going to do it. Vincent is the winner with his 2 pair. And Corey is going to be eliminated in 4th place. A nice payday of $34,665. And with that elimination, it's time to step aside from tonight's HPT final table to bring you a segment we call A Poker Life with Doyle Brunson. I'm really excited to hear this segment tonight because he talks about Chip Reese.
Doyle Brunson, being a legend himself, felt like he saw another legend in the making in the one and only Chip Reese.
Well, I've said many times that the best player that I've ever played against was Chip Reese. I first met him when he was first out of college, and he was 22 years old. I don't know what year that was, but I could see right away that he had great ability and great talent. But unfortunately, he was hooked up with Pilatro, which he cut away as quick as he could at risk of his own life, by the way. And then at that point, he had more integrity. He was the most honest player. His word was his bond. People called him to settle disputes. If there was a question about something was right or wrong, we said, well, let's call Chip, and Chip would give his ruling on it, and it always stuck. He turned out to be, along with Jack Binion, one of my best friends I've ever had. We had, after the death of my daughter, he lived right down the street from me. He and I spent a lot of hours talking about mortality, life and death, eternity, God, and so forth. And he really came to my rescue. I was so despondent. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have killed myself. I mean, just losing a family member is so terrible. You can't imagine it if you haven't gone through it. And I didn't really care whether I lived or died. I actually quit playing poker for a year. And Chip was there for me. And I mean, I just, when I lost him, it was like losing a member of my family. And for him to die at such a young age with such talent and everything, and such ability and personality and everything is a tragic thing for poker.
You know, I've played with Chip several times before he passed away, and the poker world is truly missing out. Come back for more HPT action after these quick messages.
Welcome back to the HPT. It's James Larson and Maria Ho. Before the commercial break, we saw Corey Burbick. He was eliminated. Now we are down to our final 3. Let's head back to final table action. Up top, just over $122,000. Second place money, $79,225. And third place money, $49,704.
Vincent Fiorenza, though, is in good shape as our chip leader. He has $5.3 million. Carlos Loving has $3.3 million. And Tim Woodson has $1.6 million.
The blinds are $40,000, $80,000 with a $10K ante. Tim makes the call with King 7. Now the option to Carlos in the 2 seat. And Carlos in the big blind will check his option.
The flop is 10-9-7 rainbow. So Tim has bottom pair here.
Both players going to check that flop. Turn card now, the 6 of spades. Tim checks again. Action on Carlos. He bets 80,000 chips.
And now Carlos is just trying to win this pot right here, but Tim isn't going to fold.
Tim does make the call.
Tim Woodson, Melbourne, Florida, and I play poker for a living. It's pretty important, you know, I'm here for the money. I'm trying to go get it, and I know there's some good players, but I'm going to go after it.
Pot size of 350,000 chips. River card now is the 5 of spades. Tim checks once again.
So Carlos willing to fire one more time to try to win this pot. He should probably make it about 200,000 or so if he wants to have a chance of getting Tim to think about it with his hand, and he makes it 275K. It's not an easy call given the board texture for Tim.
Action over to Tim. Him and his wife expecting a new baby boy next month. And he is going to go ahead and make the call.
And the call has made. That's a dirty stack. Queen,
and he's going to realize he's the winner of the hand.
And you know, that was definitely a crying call from Tim there, but he just wanted to sleep well tonight.
He's not going to be sleeping real well in another month when that baby comes. He's going to be up all hours of the night. Congratulations to Tim and his wife. Blinds 40,000, 80,000 with a 10K ante. Three-handed here at the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room.
Tim moves all in here with deuces. He only had about 13 big blinds, and Vincent's going to make the call from the big blind with King Jack of diamonds. So another flip here. Tim's already doubled up twice this final table through Vincent. Vincent is hoping to finally deliver this knockout blow. I think either way, Tim's going to be fine, though. He's just going to drink some beer and, you know, feel all right after.
Yeah, Tim's having an all right tournament. Tim, who started the final table as the short stack, one of the 3 remaining players at this final table, hoping his deuces hold up against the 2 big overs of Vincent.
And the flop is Queen 9-8, 2 spades, neither player with a spade in their hand. Vincent, though, has 2 overs, but also a gut shot. A 10 will give him the straight.
The turn card, please.
Turn card is the 8 of spades.
That's an interesting card because now Vincent can also win with a queen or a 9 as well. It'll counterfeit Tim's pair.
And the river card is the 9 of clubs.
And that's kind of an unfortunate way to go out for Tim there. Vincent's king kicker is going to play here with the 9s and 8s on the board. So Tim Woodson is going to be our 3rd place finisher, taking home just under $50,000.
Congratulations to Tim. Like I said, he started this final table as the short stack, and a 3rd place finish for him. A nice payday, just over $49,000 in cash.
So heads up now between the 2 players that have had the chip lead throughout this final table, Vincent Fiorenza and Carlos Loving. Vincent has a huge chip lead over Carlos, over 2-1. Vincent has $7 million to Carlos's $3.2 million.
2nd place money just over $79,000, and up top $122,353. The flop is 9-6-4.
So Vincent here with 6-5 has middle pair. Carlos has top pair, though.
Vincent bets 100,000 chips over to Carlos. Heads up poker, so much fun to watch. Call is made by Carlos.
There's really nowhere to hide in heads up poker. You're just going to have to play the majority of your hands.
King of diamonds comes on the turn. How do you sharpen your heads up game? Because a lot of us don't get the opportunity to play a lot of heads up poker.
Yeah, I think that honestly, you can play with your friends in heads-up situations. You could play online with play money. That's only the real way, because you don't want to wait until you're actually heads up for this kind of money to practice your heads-up skills.
And I think that happens to a lot of players, especially amateur players. All of a sudden, they find themselves in this position, this spot, where they've never been before.
Yeah, and it's definitely a different ball game. King of diamonds on the turn, so Carlos's pair 9 still good. And he calls another bet from Vincent. This time the bet is $180,000.
So not only are you in this new situation, then you look up at the screen and you realize you're playing for a 6-figure score, and it all sinks in, and, you know, I'd be shaking like a leaf. River card, 6 of clubs.
So Vincent's now improved to trips, but he decides now to check it over to Carlos. But I don't think that's the best play here, because I don't think he's going to get Carlos to bet. I think he had a chance of getting Carlos to pay him off, though, if Vincent bet.
And both players are going to check. So they flip over their cards, and Vincent is going to be the winner of this 780,000 chip pot with his 3 of a kind, adding to his chip stack. And when we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this final table coming to you from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. You're watching the HPT. Welcome back to the HPT. It's James Larson and Maria Ho. We are heads up. 2 players left. One will be our champion and go home with the cash of just over $122,000.
Vincent Fiorenza has the upper hand here in this heads-up match. He has $7.5 million to Carlos's $2.8 million.
Vincent's going to make the call with 10 deuce. Carlos checks his option in the big blind with 8 tray.
And the flop is 10-7 deuce, 2 hearts. So Vincent's connected really well here with the Doyle Brunson hand, as they call it, flopping top and bottom 2 pair.
Carlos bets 125,000 chips over to Vincent.
And slow playing is definitely in order here. I think, you know, heads up, people are willing to call with a lot less, and people are happy to kind of continue to try to bluff other streets, so there's no real reason to raise.
Vincent makes the call. The ace of spades comes on the turn.
But Carlos does just have 8-3 here, so he's going to check it over.
Over to Vincent now. Vincent Fiorenza, 28 years old. Last year he placed 13th at this same event. And he's going to make a wager. $285,000.
I think Carlos is pretty happy to give up on this hand. He knows, you know, there aren't really any good cards for him on the river that he would be happy to call this bet on the turn for.
And he's going to fold his hand, and the winner is Vincent. Vincent told me his plans for the cash were to retire. It's only $122,000. I don't know if he's going to get to retirement with that, but definitely life-changing cash, as always, here on the HPT.
He's probably going to end up playing more poker with that, but that's just my guess. Blinds are 50,000, 100,000 with a 10K ante. Vincent looks down at pocket 4s from the button.
Carlos looks down at ace-7. Talk about how valuable an ace is in heads-up play. Just one ace.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you know, ace high is going to be the best hand a lot of the time.
And the flop is ace-6 deuce, couple of diamonds. Carlos outflops Vincent. He checks over. And Vincent is going to make a bet of $110,000. Action over to Carlos. We'll see if he raises. He's going to make the call. Pot size now 640,000 chips. Turn card, the 4 of diamonds.
And so Vincent now has a set, but Carlos is still reaching for chips, trying to get some more value out of what he thinks is the best hand.
That's $250,000. 3 diamonds on the board now. Action over to Vincent. Do you raise here in this position, Maria?
No, I think I like just a call here. I don't think there's much value in raising here. There's a flush on board. You're probably not going to get Carlos to call with much worse if you raise.
So Vincent makes the call. And the river card is the 7 of diamonds, the 4th diamond on board now. And that 7 makes 2 pair for Carlos, aces and 7s.
So that's an unfortunate card for Carlos in some ways, but it also puts a 4 flush on the board, so he can't lose that much. He's betting $150,000. I think he's not going to like it if he were to get raised here, but seeing how Vincent has a set of 4s with no diamond, he's probably just going to call.
Maybe Carlos needed a little bit bigger bet than $150,000. Vincent does make the call, and he's going to win the hand. No diamond for either player. So Vincent and his set of 4 is good enough to take down that pot of 1.4 million chips.
That's so sick.
I'm so glad, man.
Yeah, it's a sick run out.
Vincent a little surprised.
I'm glad it wasn't a different 7.
Okay, so Vincent, the winner of the hand.
And Vincent has the momentum so far in heads-up play. He not only had the chip lead to begin with, but he has won 2 very significant pots so far. Carlos looking to rebound.
Blinds are 50,000, 100,000 with a 10K ante. Vincent looks down at ace deuce. He's going to make the call. Option now in the big blind to Carlos. He checks his jack 5. Flop is ace jack tray, so both players getting a piece of that. Both players check, and now the turn card is the tray of diamonds.
Carlos looks like he still wants to bet middle pair here. He makes it 125,000 to go.
Over to Vincent now. He's going to make the call of 125,000 chips. A lot of money on the line, 79,000 and change for second. Up top, just over 122,000, and the ace of clubs comes on the river.
Vincent has a full house now. Carlos is smart enough to check it over to Vincent, but we'll see if he is going to lay it down to this bet that Vincent's about to make here.
And Vincent's going to make a bet of 510,000 chips. Carlos makes the call. And he's going to see he's beat. The full house for Vincent. And a pot size of just under 1.5 million chips going to Vincent in the 5 seat. He continues his quest to be our newest HPT champion.
With 2 players remaining, this is the penultimate moment. You don't want to miss it after this quick break.
Welcome back to the HPT. James Larson and Maria Ho. This week we come to you from the Sunshine State. The weather's been beautiful. It was hard to get you off the beach to come in here and watch this poker.
I know, but the final table action is heating up that I had to come back in and check it out for myself. Let's get right back to it. Vincent Fiorenza has a huge chip lead over his opponent. Vincent's got 7.7 million to Carlos's 2.6 million.
The action continues. Heads up here from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. James Larson and Maria Ho with you. We start with Carlos. Looks down at pocket 4s. Nothing wrong with that heads up.
Most people would be really happy to see any pair heads up, you know, any ace high, even king highs are good.
Carlos just makes the call. Now the option in the big blind to that man, Vincent. He's going to check. Queen 6 going up against the pocket 4. It seems like we've seen a lot of pocket pairs at this final table.
The flop is king 6 deuce. So actually Vincent pulls into the lead here, flopping middle pair of 6s. Carlos bets 130,000 with his pocket 4s.
Over to Vincent now. Vincent looks real relaxed. I think he's thinking of the 122,000, thinking of this championship, thinking how he's going to celebrate afterwards. He makes the call.
When you have almost a 3-to-1 chip lead on your opponent, it's kind of hard to not feel comfortable, but you definitely want to make sure you close this tournament out playing your best.
Well, and the turn card is the 4 of spades.
So lucky for Carlos, he turns a set now. Vincent checks it over to him again.
So now Carlos going to make a bet. It's going to be 220,000 chips.
And I don't see Vincent going anywhere. The board looks pretty good for his hand right now.
700,000 chips in the pot. So Vincent makes the call. And the river card now is the Queen of Hearts.
And that's pretty bad for Vincent because it gives him 2 pair. But Carlos does have the best hand with a set, and it's really just going to be fireworks, I think, on this river. I think Vincent plans on check raising.
This could spell disaster for Vincent. Action is on Carlos. And he's reaching for those plaques. And he's going to make a bet of 350,000 chips.
And I'm assuming that Vincent's probably just going to put Carlos all in here. And he does. Carlos quickly makes the call, and Vincent's going to see that he thought that river helped him, but it really didn't because he was drawing dead going into it against Carlos's set.
And by the looks of it, Vincent had no idea. But the winner is going to be Carlos Loving. He's going to double up. Now things are getting a little closer.
And it's just tough to be heads up and get cooler like that. You know, you're not really going to fold two pair, and you're obviously hoping to get value with hands like two pair in heads up situations.
Good thing is, though, Vinny's still smiling. He looks down at pocket jacks, and he's going to raise to 200,000.
My strategy today would be to just play my game, put a lot of pressure on opponents, and take it down, hopefully.
Now Carlos is going to re-raise to 500,000 with queen deuce of clubs.
So Carlos turning up the aggression now after winning that huge pot to double up. Vincent knows that this is a really great hand to have heads up. I don't know if he's going to 4-bet or just slow play here.
He's going to make the call. Jacks up against the queen deuce of clubs.
And the flop is king 7-5. So one overcard on the board to Vincent's pair, but he should still feel fairly comfortable about his hand. Carlos is the pre-flop aggressor, though, with his 3-bet. And he's going to continuation bet here, making it 400,000 to go.
Action over to Vincent. Trying to win his first ever HPT title here tonight. And Vincent's going to make the call. 400,000 and a call.
And the turn is the 6 of spades.
Action now to Carlos. See if we see him slow down. He's going to check.
I think if I were Vincent, I'd probably just check back here.
Both players check. We go to the river card now, the 4 of spades.
This run out's not very good for Vincent's jacks. But if Carlos isn't willing to fire on the river, there's no way he could win this hand, and he knows it.
Man, he's all in. Wow. If Vincent makes this call, this tournament's over.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really interesting. This is a huge overbet on the river. You know, he's going all in for $4 million. There was $1 million in the pot. And so I think some alarm bells should be going off for Vincent. I mean, sometimes overbets are bluffs. Sometimes overbets are for value. It's really tough to decipher sometimes. But if you're wrong, then you're essentially going to be crippled after this hand. They're fairly close in chip counts.
And Vincent is going to fold. He shows his pocket jacks. Carlos is going to win the hand.
I wonder if Carlos is going to show this bluff or not.
You don't want to call. Come on, guy.
Are you kidding me?
You don't want to call.
So then you should have called me.
We're supposed to get it all in pre-flop. I'm an idiot, though. I play
Yeah,
like
if you jam, then
Carlos wins
it's a
the
different
pot.
story. Yep.
Interesting play there on the river, but it worked out for Carlos, and he drags the chips and keeps his tournament hopes alive. When we come back, we'll find out who our new champion is going to be. Will it be Carlos or will it be Vinny? Don't go too far. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the HPT. It's James Larson and Maria Ho. After a great week here in Daytona Beach, we are finally down to our final 2 players. Heads up, mano y mano. Let's head down to the felt and see who our new champion is going to be.
Vincent Fiorenza still has the chip lead over Carlos. He has $6 million in chips. Carlos has $4.2 million. Still anybody's game, though.
Playing for a couple $100,000 up top, just over $122,000. Second place money, $79,225. Truly life-changing money, as always, here on the HPT. And come on out and join us at an event. You can check out our webpage at hptpoker.com.
Blinds are $50,000, $100,000 with a $10K ante. Carlos limps in from the button with 10-5 offsuit. Vincent raises with king deuce of hearts.
Raises to $250,000. Back over to Carlos.
I don't know Vincent, but I have played with him for a few hours. I noticed that he's very active and he likes to make the pots very large. So I'll probably try to play lower variant style against him and keep the pots in control. It's 150 to call?
It's Heads Up Poker coming to you from Daytona Beach. And Carlos makes the call. King deuce up against the 10-5.
And the flop is 10-5-4, all hearts. So Vincent's flopped the second nut flush. Carlos has flopped top and middle pair, though. And you know, these are the kinds of hands that when it's heads up, you're not really going to get away from.
Carlos bets 200,000. Now Vincent's going to raise to 900,000.
And I like this. Vincent's going to fast play his flop flush, trying to maybe represent just, you know, one heart in his hand.
Tough spot here for Carlos. 700,000 to call.
And I think if I were Carlos, I would probably just call here, wait for a safe card, and then go all in. There's no reason for him to think he doesn't have the best hand. Unfortunately, we know he doesn't, but there is really no getting away from it.
Carlos makes the call. Now we go to the turn card. It's the 6 of clubs. Action on Vinny.
And I think the way that Vincent has played, I don't think Carlos is expecting that he's fast playing a flop flush here. So Carlos probably feels fairly comfortable with his hand.
1.1 million chip bet by Vincent.
1.1. All in.
And an all in. And a quick call by Vinny, Maria.
So Carlos decides to move all in here on this turn card. And Vincent obviously quickly calls. And unless a 10 or a 5 comes on the river, Vincent is going to become our newest HPT champion.
Vinny is one card away from just over 122,000, but it's not over yet as we go to the river. And it's the 7 of spades, and that is going to do it. The winner of the hand is Vincent, and he will be our newest HPT champion, going home with the title and the cash.
Congratulations to our second place finisher, Carlos Loving. He's going to go home with just under 80,000. He did a great job, but unfortunately, in the end, he couldn't close it out. He's standing by with James Larson to talk about his final table play.
I'm joined with Carlos, going out in second place. Now, Carlos, when you flopped 2 pair, did you think you were ahead even though there was 3 hearts out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very hard to flop a flush, so, and I have him on tilt, I believe, so it's hard to get away from that hand, and I honestly called flop to trap him.
Yeah.
And he happened to have a flush, so it was unfortunate.
Now, you turned the tables, and I'll give you credit. You got him on full tilt. He was throwing chips around, and I thought at that point it was going to be your advantage, and you were going to take this down.
Yeah, I did also, and it didn't work out, but that's poker. You know, that's how it goes.
That is poker, but he's got to have a smile on his face. Give him a big round of applause. Carlos going out in second place.
Once again, congratulations, Carlos. It's a great payday. But now we are going to talk to our winner, the newest HPT champion, Vincent Fiorenza. He's standing by with James Larson.
Put your hands together for Vincent, everybody. All right, Vincent, it's all over. You are a champion, but for a minute there, you almost let it slip away. You tilted a little bit. You were throwing chips around. What was going through your head?
Well, it was a tough opponent, and I got lucky. The flop came a flush, and he had the top 2 pair. It's hard to get away from that heads up, so I came out ahead.
When you flopped the flush there, was it just kind of like Yahtzee, this thing's over?
Yeah, he felt that I was on tilt a little bit, so I felt that I could get all the chips in pretty much on the flop or the turn, so I went ahead and put a lot of chips in the middle, and that's what happened.
All right, well, you're going home with 122,000. Let's put a little bit of that in your hand now. You have a cracked iPhone. Is that the only plans for the cash?
Pretty much. New iPhone first, purse for the girlfriend, and a couple cash for the mom.
All right, I want to bring in Dominic Nero, the poker room manager. Dom, we have seen some great poker, and I think we've got a great champion in here that's next to us right here in Vincent.
Oh, yeah, it was great. You know, he did a great job along with Carlos and everybody at the final table. The whole event was great, so let's congratulate him.
All right, anything real quick before I let you go, anything you want to say to your rail? They've been with you, your mother, your girlfriend, everybody in the crowd. Anything you want to say to them?
I just want to thank everybody, my family, my girlfriend, my brother, my friends, and everybody from Daytona that supported me. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
And we have a new champion, and I got a feeling he's a tattoo guy. Maybe a King Deuce of Hearts right here on the shoulder?
Nah, I don't know about no cards on my body.
Okay.
New tattoo, maybe.
All right, folks. That is Vincent. He's our new champ. One more time. Give him a big round of applause. Going home with just over 122,000.
It's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second.
All right, Maria, that's it. We have a brand new HPT champion. His name, Vincent Fiorenza. How do you think everybody played at this final table tonight?
I think everybody played well, and down to the home stretch, Vincent obviously was very aggressive, and I think that's why he ended up winning here today. But congratulations to Carlos for finishing second.
And I also want to congratulate all of our final table players and really take this time to say thank you to everybody who came out to play this event to make it such a huge success. Now, if you're watching this at home, maybe you're on your couch thinking, well, I can play with these guys. I could maybe even win one of these. Why not just give it a shot? Check out our webpage at hptpoker.com. Find an event that will work for you. And who knows, maybe you'll be playing for the life-changing cash. That's our show for tonight. For Maria Ho, I'm James Larson, and we'll see you next time on the HPT.
Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.